Here we go. I love this intro so much. It's so good. It just makes me want to run through a wall. Ah, so good. All right. Welcome to the Stretch Thin Stretch Thin. Welcome to the Stretch Thin podcast. I can't speak. Your
Where we
turn.
share our experiences and some encouragement as two men trying, not thriving, in the 21st century. I'm Shannon, a pastor, coffee shop owner, and an author.
And I'm Joel, a former pastor, now tech professional and author. Are you ready, Shannon?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Let's do it. So, you've had a really busy week. A really busy week. I feel like every day has been a week's worth of in one day for you. Is that true?
It does feel that way. It feels like that I am cramming, I don't know, like 7 days into five
Right.
or
'Cause you've got the work stuff, which you can share. I mean, if you want to, you can share some of that. Like you run a coffee shop that has how many locations now?
we are 4 locations.
4 locations in Chattanooga. Which he's not Starbucks, guys. Like, so it's you. Like, there's no corporate to help you. It's just you, and obviously your team. But yeah, like you've had to do
I
some
am
stuff
corporate. I
with
am
stuff.
corporate.
You are corporate. How's that been?
You know what? Truthfully, I've one of the things that I've learned is you surround yourself with people who are better at things than you are, and I've got a really, really good team, a solid team that is able to in place now. We had a bit of a sort of a fruit basket turnover with some staff that I didn't see coming. It needed to happen, and when it happened, I was like, "Oh no!" And like, what are we gonna do? And it turned out to be ideal. So team steps up, some great spaces. I mean, just things are going really well. But just the making sure that everything is still intact, has been crazy. So
What do you think has been the hardest part about that for you? Like, what's or not the hardest part? What's been the most taxing for you?
the knowledge that there are holes and gaps that need to be filled, and this sense of I need to do something about this. So I was at one morning when all this was going on. I got a. It was actually just before all this happened. I got a text from one of my location managers. She runs a location by herself. It's a small operation, and she sent a text out to our leadership team saying, "Hey, I'm sick, and I can't make it in today." And we didn't have anyone else. Like her backup was out of the
Right.
country. So I am standing at the bar at the gym about to do a back squat when I get this text. And I've not
Yes.
even started my workout. And I'm like, okay, I'm actually 10 minutes away from her location. I could go downstairs, shower, and get there just in time to open. So I text and I'm like, okay, I'll come and open. And so I go down, shower, and I'm standing there, I'm getting dressed, and my phone goes off, and another manager says, "I've got coverage at my spot. I'm on my way to her location."
That's awesome.
I was like, "Oh, sweet." So here I was, wet hair. I put my gym clothes back on, went up and finished my workout. But that stress of feeling like I've got to be the one to fill in those gaps, and when you're trying to scale something larger, if you I think that's a challenge. I think knowing when it's okay for you to not step in and fill in the gap is is tricky, because you
Yeah.
don't want to. I don't want to be separated from the business. So I don't know. That was probably one of the hardest things. It has been, and since then we had the big turnover with the staff, and it's like, okay, we've got to fill in gaps, and I have. Like I've been able to step back behind the bar, serve coffee, make drinks again, and I've loved that. Like in all honesty, that's probably been one of the most therapeutic things for me is
Yeah.
going back into where I started from, you know? So,
Which is interesting because you'd think that most business owners, what do they say? Like, you build it and then it runs on your without you, and that's when you've made it because you just make all the money and it runs without you, and you don't have to do the things that you did before. All those late nights where you did everything,
yeah,
and you're funnily enough, you're like flipping it on his head and saying, no, actually, that's the better part for me is getting to just be back behind the bar, and because you're a relational person. I mean, your book says it. Not to just plug your book, but Behind the Bar, great book. But you've talked about that a lot in your book where you were, this isn't like a book plug. You didn't ask me to do this. But you talked about how that's something you like. You like getting to know people and to hear their stories. So that's cool.
yeah, it's being relational. I mean, that's why I got into the coffee business to begin with. So,
Yeah,
yeah, that's me. But hey, you, sir, turned another year older this
I
week.
did. I'm 35 now. That was Monday. So I turned 35 Monday and then 37 for my wife Tuesday. It was a weird birthday though. Like it started rough. Like my wife and I, at one point, you'll learn more about our story. But at one point, like I said, I was a former pastor, and then when we left ministry, we didn't leave it well, and also not well financially. So we went into really bad financial debt, and we'd been really working our way out of that for a long time, and so I get triggered by any time there's any type of money stuff. It just is like the worst thing for me. Um, and it will set me off. And I feel like if anyone's been, paycheck to paycheck, not had money, they know what I'm saying if you ever get that like overdraft notification, no matter if it's like $1
Sure.
or 500, it could be anything, but you get that little notification and it freaks you out because when in the past when that meant we didn't have any money and we would have to throw stuff on credit cards and stuff, it was traumatic. So it was triggering. So I woke up on my birthday to an overdraft notification, and I love TD Bank because it likes to tell you like at 3 a.m. it sends you that notification, and then so what you get is you the second I open my phone, just how iPhones are, is it's the top notification. It's hey, you overdrafted. And so from the moment I wake up, and I also had work I had to do because I had some early calls, I'm like, well, this is the worst. And I spiraled. I mean, I spiraled so fast, and it was bad. I mean, it was bad. I was in the suicidal ideation spiral where like the brain just starts going like, what are you doing? Yeah, exactly. Nothing you do matters. You're 35. You turned a whole nother year. What did this year do? Nothing. You got this new job. What did it do? Nothing. You got all this stuff. Doesn't matter. And my wrestle with mental health has been that, and we'll kind of talk about this maybe about medications, but um, finding medications that work have been difficult because now that I've been on some for a while, I'm starting to see. I think I'm more on the end of the side effects where those things that when they do the side effects and they're like suicidal,
Yes.
depression, anxiety, blah, 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 and you're like, you go and you never listen to those. I remember my pastor recently was like, maybe you're that person though that like you're the one that gets the bad side effects, right? Like
Reported in some patients, and
yeah, like
some
you're
patient.
that reported in some patients
Yeah.
because he said just maybe that's your propensity in your body goes towards that, and because he said and I think about it too, like that when for them to come out of nowhere or for my brain to default to things are bad, you should kill yourself. It's like okay, there's no rhyme or reason for that. Like I'm not walking into that and being like yes, I hate everything about myself. Um, and so interestingly enough, on Tuesday, of I think it was last week though, I was in counseling, and my counselor even asked. He was like, "Yeah, I think that's a wise decision to maybe go to a psychiatrist and try to figure out maybe if these meds are doing that because, if you just like if you haven't really had issues and then you had issues when you started being on medication, that's a fair point.
Sure.
And to the credit of when I was a pastor, I never had issues with anxiety or suicidal thoughts. Even when we moved down here to South Carolina after I left ministry, when I first was in tech, didn't have issues. And then it was like the last year or so, and I think it was when I got on bupropion, which is like for ADD, is
Hmm.
when it really started. And then the anxiety got really bad, and then I feel like I've just been in this kind of trying to battle against it. So my birthday was such a dichotomy because I was getting messages from people like you really beautifully sweet messages, affirming, kind, all that. And people are just saying there's great things. And then my brain's like filtering it, going, no, I mean, no, it gets nice, but no, like,
Yeah,
and
but
it's
yeah.
just blocking it, blocking all of it. So it was an interesting birthday in that end because I'm 35 and I have goals that I want for by 40. I have I like where I'm at though. Like 35, I mean you were 35 once.
A
Like
long
it's
time ago, yeah.
shut up. It's like I have all this time with my kids. They're still young, and I'm soaking all of that up. And then also I have goals for career and for writing and stuff. And so it's to the that was the weird dichotomy was as it was like one of the most optimistic birthdays I've had, but also one of the most depressing birthdays I've had because of the wrestles that I've had with mental health. So, yeah, that's. But my wife's a great wife. She treated me really well for the birthday. We got our favorite cake from a local cake place here in Greenville, sweet potato cake, very good. And it was great. It was awesome. And I'm pretty sure she got me a melon hat for my birthday. It just hasn't come yet, because in looking through the bank statements because of the overdraft, I saw a little melon line, and I was like, okay, she probably got me a hat, but I won't say anything.
I can't be too mad. I can't, but I want to be, but I can't be. I
Get some
love it.
hats, man. What you doing? Get yourself a hat. How many? You don't listen to me. I have too many melon hats. I have.
So my birthday's coming up in about 3 weeks, and I'm
Send
asking
me a
for it,
hat so I can buy you one. Send me one that I
but
can buy for you.
bro, we're going to what is it, Vero Beach, where they're at, their little their
Yeah.
headquarters. I love their store. It's tiniest little store. And I mean, when we stumbled on it a few years ago, I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is you guys!" And they're like, "Yeah, we're Melon." And
So
so,
fun.
so we're like, my wife was like, "When we go," she said, "That's where you get to like pick it out yourself." So,
That's awesome. Well, also send me one that you might want as well, and I'll buy you one to send to you. So
hey, how do you handle this when your father-in-law asks you where'd you get your hat, and you tell him, and then you go to his office like a month later, and he's got like 10 on his wall.
no way. Are you? But like he didn't get you any. So, well, here's the funny thing. I do feel like older guys that I've met that like find out melon hats. What they do though is because they sell melon hats in like Dick's Sporting Goods and stuff like that, and so they'll find them and they'll just go buy them there. They won't like order them. So I bet you he probably went into one of those stores
I didn't know that.
and
Yeah.
just bought like five of them there.
I didn't know you could buy them. I thought you had to strictly buy them from them.
No,
Wow.
they started selling them in stores and stuff. Anyway, but that's hilarious that he has 10 melon hats.
I was like, oh, I like that one. What?
But yeah, at some point though, I feel like with all the hats that I have, like I have guitars and stuff on the wall. I'm eventually gonna have to start putting like hat racks for
So
all of my melon hats.
in my garage, I have a whole wall with hooks on it, and my goal is because they're just little hats from here. There's baseball hats, and
Right.
some of them I want to keep, but I'm in a process of slowly phasing those out and keeping
That's cool.
making
I need to do
making it a
that too.
melon wall.
Yeah. I think it'd be so cool to have a hat wall too, just because I mean you and I that's one of the things we bonded over was hats.
You
Was
walked
like
in that day and you had one, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I don't see anybody wearing them here. Now I see
I,
them everywhere.
Well, because that's what I'm saying. That was funny when we first met. That's one of the things we bonded on. And you know me, like, I will find anything to relate to someone with. Like, I will find commonality somewhere. It's like my goal.
Yeah.
And so the fact that we had the hat thing, and yeah, I think the reason why you're seeing so many people is because you can find them in stores now. And I think they're a little cheaper when you find them in like Dick's and stuff, rather than if you buy them offline. If you don't know melon hats, they're not cheap. They
Yeah.
are in themselves a investment.
They are, but they're yeah. I love them. I love them. I have five, presently five. I have way less than you do. But hey, but listen to this. This is really cool. The first one that I bought, I went to their store,
Yes, that's right.
and it was a gray one, gray front, white back. And I get home, because I put it in the little box, and I didn't even wear it until I wanted to make sure I got it home okay and not on the airplane. So I get home, take it out of the box, and right here on the bill, the seam was split. And I was like, bro, like they sold me a hat that's
Yeah.
torn. So I emailed them back. I was like, hey, I was there last week, bought this, and they were like, we're so sorry. I don't even think that I gave them my email address. I mean my mailing address. But within like 2 days, I had the exact same hat in my in my on my front porch, and they were like, keep the other one. So I work out in the one that's
That's
torn,
cool.
and I
Yeah.
wear the other one that's nice. And so then I've got a black one and this one, and then I got one for Christmas. So
They're
they're super great product,
and
expensive
they're a
great
great
product.
company. Yeah,
Yeah,
and like I mean, I even at one point because they do custom orders. At one point I wanted to get like Boy in the Tree hats based on my kids' book, but they were like, "You're gonna have to buy a lot for it to not be a crazy amount of money, and even then, it's gonna be like a couple thousand." And I went, "Yeah,
one
never.
day, one day
One day, I'll buy. I'll use you guys, but
on
I'm
the
not that
reprint,
big." Yeah,
on the reprint.
yeah, well, maybe. Okay, so work was good but rough. My stuff was good but rough. Like, so what was a good though? Like, what was a amazing part of your week that really shined?
Really cool. So your birthday was Monday,
Right, and then your daughter's was
was Tuesday, which was the
yeah.
same day as your wife's birthday. And so this is her first year being married, and
Oh man,
so she came here, and we had a birthday celebration for her with family and friends, and I'm loving this new season of life of being just having a married kid
yeah.
and just watching their lives form together. You know, they're filling out their income taxes together, and just watching those kinds of things. And so to I don't know, just having her here, having everybody here was
Yeah.
just a really sweet moment this week. So that's kind of what I'm clinging to, like as my like
Gosh, that's so funny.
just
I, it's just funny how different. Like your, both of ours have to do with kids, but in different ways, right? Because yours is interacting with your kid, being married, and mine is I love doing put down with Edmund because so obviously Shannon has older kids than me. I have younger kids. Shannon is obviously done having kids because his kids are older.
yes, he is.
We also are done as well, but like our kids are much younger, so we're going, okay, these are the last young kid days, and we're trying to think, okay, I want to soak it up. And so I often do bedtime for Edmund because we have to divide and conquer. The girls have the rooms together, and so Joanna will do their bedtime while I do Edmund's bedtime because they kind of go to bed around the same time. And so um, one night he was laying on my chest falling asleep, but he was laying in a way that he was kind of like on his side and he was resting his hand on my chest. But started doing this thing though, as like a boy, he just smacks my chest, and at first it was like soft, and then he just started going whack, whack. But I thought it was just the most adorable thing because I'm just like,
That's
this is
awesome.
great. Like, this is such a fun moment with my 1.5 year old that him, like, we are best buds. Why we say this to people, they don't get it. He would choose to hang out with me over Joanna 10 times out of 10. Like, he is not a mama's boy, he
Hmm.
is a daddy's boy, which is so weird. But he is just like, that's all he wants. If I'm holding him and Joanna tries to come over to grab him, he's like, no, 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 I don't want this. And so it was just a cool moment for me. Like, I know these moments are going to go away when he's not going to be small enough for me to hold as he sleeps and then put him in his bed. And there are going to be moments where he's like, that's going to go away and he's going to be his own dude, worrying about being cool. Or he's going to be married and he's going to be hanging out with his wife.
I'm telling you though, that like you just describing him on your chest is being a dad of a small kid. One of my most favorite places to be was, and of course he's bigger now. Which, by the way, he is you. I mean, you spit. And there he is. I just every time you pop him up on the camera, I'm like that. That's there's no denying him as your son. And similarly with mine, like most people will look at Jaden and like I know who you belong to,
Yeah, yeah.
but having them that small and them falling just laying there on your chest and falling asleep is such a restorative place. Like of all the places in the world I've ever been, it's the most peaceful.
Yeah. Well, you
It's
told
the most.
me you when I was having a hard day, you said go spend time with your kids because you know you and I are very much cut from that same cloth that we recharge when we're around our people like that,
Yeah.
and that was great advice. And honestly, I mean to anyone listening, like if you now this is not a knock, but if you are out there listening and you're going, it's not really me. Like when I spend time with my family, it's not a recharge. I think that's a good time now to take stock and go, why is that? Like, is
Yep.
that on your end? Have you not created an environment where that happens and you fostered that kind of environment with your family, with your wife and your kids? Or is it that it's only your kids that are recharging and not your spouse? That's a whole nother conversation, right?
Yep.
Like, but I think it's good to have those moments if you're listening and that we're kind of butting up against something. It's like that's not my reality. I think it's a good opportunity. Reach out, obviously, to any of us about that because you need that. Your home needs to be a place where you're able to recharge, not avoid, because
Absolutely.
it's draining in that way. So
And I mean, these people are truly an extension of your life. It is an external. I hate to, maybe this is a bit too techie and crass, but it's an external drive. Like
yeah,
there's a charge that comes from being connected to those people, and whether it's your tiny little guy laying on your chest, or your girls, my daughters, my son, my wife, my like just to be able just to hug her and her hug me is like
yeah,
slowing down. You don't stop and notice like, oh wow, like I feel I feel like rejuvenated. I
yeah.
feel like a life coming in.
I love that.
We're learning to drive stick shift right now at my
I love
16th
that
week.
you're doing that with your kid. I
And it's so much fun. I mean, she took him out this week. I took him out a few weeks ago, and this week I got a new car so
what
that he.
was it? You never told me. What is
I
it?
didn't tell you. So I'm a Jeep guy all the way.
Oh, there it is.
This is my third one. So I had a 2009, then a 2012, and this week I bought a 2024
Jeep Wrangler.
Jeep Wrangler 4 door.
Mm.
It's cushy.
Jeep. Just empty every pocket. That's what Jeep
That's what
stands
it
for.
is. I knew there was an acronym that goes
It
along with
is.
it. I couldn't remember what it was.
It is. It's just empty every pocket. Yes.
That's yes, that's true. Because the reason that I got this one, I'm a slow learner. Was that the one that he's going to be driving presently has an oil leak, presently needs a tune up, it's got
Yeah.
some mechanical issues, and so I've got a buddy that's a mechanic. So I was like, listen, I'm going to get this one, drive it to you, let you just make sure that it's, 100-point checkup, right? Make sure
Right.
everything is good to go, and so I haven't driven it down there yet, but my wife texted me yesterday with a picture of him driving from here to like the gas station or whatever, and it's just the coolest thing. Those things are like, yeah, that's the beauty of life in it, and I think just stopping and enjoying those things,
It
whether it's
blows my mind. It blows my mind. It also like the question I keep asking people with older kids like you is I'm like, okay, we're in this world where we go to bed after our kids. What is it like when you go to bed before your kids? Like, how
oh
do you do that? I keep telling people like, how do you just let your kids be like, ah, yeah, well, night, kids. Also, like if you're someone in, hey, we're guys, so like having sex with your wife. When does that happen? Because for us, it's say kids are asleep or they're in bed, so we can. How do you do that when your kids are awake? Like that's just what?
when they're not home.
Uh, you just kick. Well, that's why it's good that they can drive. Be like, hey, go to the gas station real quick. We'll give us at least 5 minutes.
I needed you to go find a melon hat at Walmart for me,
Yeah.
and look until you find one,
Yes. Yes.
and don't come
Report
home
back to
until
me.
you.
Yeah.
And then if it's not if we don't find one, we'll call you.
Yeah. We'll let you know when it's okay. That's a funny like. In all seriousness, did you ever have that conversation with your kids where you're like, hey, we need alone time? Like, how do you even bridge that?
So we've had a variety of conversations. Our present living circumstances are much better. than what it was when a year ago we sold our house that we lived in for 10 years and moved to a larger house. Um, but it was like we were all on top of one another in
Oh
that
man.
house. Like, I mean, we didn't even have a bathroom in our bedroom. Like it was
Oh
out in the
no.
hallway. Yeah. And so um so we created we created a rhythm of like every so often we go to a cabin, we go to a
Yeah.
place in Blue Ridge. And so our kids were getting older, and I remember once they were like, why do you guys always go? And I was like, because you're always here, and there's just some things that we just can't do when you're
Yep.
here.
Yep.
So, and they were like, no more, no more, we don't, no. So,
Yeah.
so
So then you'd be like, so go somewhere else, so we don't have to.
don't you have a
Gosh.
friend's house that you can go to?
Oh
Oh,
man.
we'll need to make sure that this one is like has a rating on it so that they don't come back and listen to this one because the whole family would be mortified with this one. But
Oh, stop it. It's fine. So you, we talked about my medication. You've had sleep issues for a long time. How long have you had the issues with sleep?
my whole life, but I didn't know about it until about 2 years ago.
And when we say issues with sleep, what does that mean for you?
So I have narcolepsy without cataplexy. At least that's the diagnosis that I've been given. There's also a hypersomnia, something or another, but essentially, I just am sleepy all the time,
Yeah.
and there's been indicators all along, like family road trip, driving along, everyone's asleep in the car. I'm listening to a podcast. I doze off to sleep in our 200-foot long Ford Excursion and jerk go toward the median, wake up, jerk and do donut in the interstate, and like, oh, that's not normal.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, about 2 years ago, I laid down one afternoon, Friday afternoon, and it was actually right about this time in February, and I fell off to sleep, and I woke up, and I had no memory. I couldn't remember, like, my girls were in the room and they were talking about someone that was working at our coffee shop at one of our cafes, and then I was like, who are you talking about? And they were like, it's this person, and I was like, I don't know who that is. And so
Yeah.
freaky moment of my memory just being like gone, and opening my phone and seeing an email about a grant proposal that I had been part of, and not knowing what the context was of that. Like, I don't know what this is about. Fast forward, I go through a bunch of tests, from everything from brain scans and then sleep tests and sleep apnea, and discover that I deal with narcolepsy. And so
Mm.
here over the last few months, I've just been on a medication that's just been designed to keep me awake during the day. Like, I take it in the morning, and I'm
Right.
I'm sleepy throughout the day. But the problem was that it was the effects of that were fading away, and I was getting sleepy again, even
Yeah.
with taking
Yeah.
the medicine. So they'd ramp it up, and I'd still be sleepy. So they prescribed me this pretty intense medicine. It's a liquid solution. You have to create two separate bottles every night, and you have to take one just like in the bed.
You
Like,
get
don't.
your you getting your little bottle before
Yes,
bed, Shannon?
yes, it's my bedtime bottle, and you have to drink it in the bed.
Or else, because you're gonna fall right asleep.
Well, they because it has the ability to affect your motor skills. It is a central nervous system um, depressant, is essentially
Yes.
what it does.
Yeah.
And so I started it and was like, this is just weird. I don't like doing this. But you take it like at 9:30 if you go to bed at 9:30 before your kids do, which is me, and then I wake back up at 1:30 and I take another dose. And it's designed to give you good 4 hours of deep sleep,
Right.
because my sleep cycles are like this,
Yeah.
when most people's go down and
No,
then
let me
back
look at
up.
mine.
So so I'm then taking this medicine, and I'm still like waking up early in the morning. I'm getting deep sleep. I'm getting quality. I'm scoring super high as far as quality of sleep. But like this morning, I'm awake at 3:45, and my body is like, okay, it's time to get up.
Yeah.
And I get up and I start moving around, and then an hour later, I'm slap exhausted again. And so the medicine itself, I was like, man, I'm hating having to take it twice a night. So I talked to my doctor. They were like, let's try to do one dose of it at when you go to bed. And so I did. I did it for 2 nights, and when I did it, it messed me up. Like at one point, I get up to go to the bathroom, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to crawl to the bathroom, and I'm gonna have to crawl back to my bed.
Mm.
And so it freaked me out. So I decided this week that I was just gonna kind of give it a break. Um, I've been trying to do things like magnesium and ashwagandha and all these
Mm.
other things that are helping to kind of slow me down because what I'm learning is that cortisol is my enemy, and
Yep.
it's peaking about 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock in the morning. It's waking me up. Blood sugar's dropping, cortisol's increasing, and so even just today, I'm trying to like, okay, I'm trying a new rhythm of taking some magnesium a little bit later. Started a new peptide last night, which is
Okay.
called DSIP, which is a deep sleep something peptide. I don't know,
Hmm.
um, but I slept well last night, just not long enough, and
Yep.
so I'm trying to get past that lull. But man, just sleep is so critical, and I've never realized how invaluable it is to our bodies.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, it is truly it's life for us.
It is, and the quality is important too. I mean, I'm looking at my sleep score because I have a Whoop, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, yeah, I had not even an hour of deep sleep, not even an hour of REM. The majority of my night was light sleep.
Yep,
I slept for about 6 hours, which is
yep,
not great. You need to get more restorative sleep, as they call it. But I'm bad about that because like my I coach a lot of CrossFit in the early morning, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and now Saturday. And what I'm learning is I'm going to have to adjust my sleep and go back to bed earlier when I was cutting at one point when I was doing like a kind of like a challenge, a diet challenge. And I was really good about getting in the bed at like 8 so that I could be asleep by like a certain point or whatever. And so I'm just going to have to start getting back to like making sure that I get to sleep around 9 or whatever so that I have that extra hour, and I need to start getting up consistently because that's another thing that you learn is like the inconsistent wake ups. So on the days you in quotes don't have to wake up early, you sleep in. That doesn't actually help. It hurts you. It's like a
it's
oh
crazy, and sleep like so that deep restorative sleep is critical in helping your body relieve and get rid of toxins and inflammation.
right.
Like I'm up. I weighed this morning. I'm up 4 pounds from where I was last week, and I'm not like. There's no way that I'm up from my
No, and
food.
it's just from
Been
sleep.
tracking it. It's just sleep. And looking back this week, yeah, my total. Now my sleep score is like 85, which
Right.
is almost every night. Every night I sleep. I have a good sleep score. It's the length of sleep that always just bites me.
Hmm. Okay. Well, so we've talked about sleep. What is got any win you want to share from this week?
I think we did that, did we? We talked about like just well, not a win. It was high point of
High point.
so
Yeah, but what's a win? Like it can be as small or as big as you want it. I have a one from a listener I could share after you're done.
well you let's hear from them.
Okay. Well,
That gives me time to think.
yeah. Also, remember, you got to be texting people and asking for them for wins so that we can share the wins.
True, true.
This is cool. So you'll appreciate this because this person also used to own a coffee shop. Now they just own a coffee roaster. Um, and his name's Daniel. He's out of Newport News. Him and I know each other because we went to college together. And then at one point, we were on staff at a church together in different capacities. But he said, and you'll get this because coffee. He said last week was actually tough for him, or this week was tough for him because there was the flooding of his coffee roasting warehouse, and it also flooded his neighbor's place, and so that was a huge challenge. But he said his win was getting closer to his neighbor and actually talking about faith more in the actual challenge we were facing, because they're both places had to be completely gutted. But like God being near in that, and they got to talk about faith as a result of it. So To him, that was his win, right? So it was in the midst of a really rough time, as you know, as a business owner and everything. When like, oh, okay, now everything has to be gutted, so that means you have to get through insurance, you have to think
Oof,
through all of that stuff. But at the same time, being able to be a light to that person and a talk about faith, like to them, that was a win.
absolutely, man. What a challenge. I mean, that's challenge is such an understatement. How what a such a huge hurdle to be faced with, but to be able to see that from the positive from that, which is being able to talk to somebody, and again, if you're relatable people that love relational
Yep.
interaction, then yeah, that's huge. That's awesome. Well, way to go, Daniel, for connecting with a guy
Yeah.
that in the midst of your crisis there. Yeah, I thinking about my win. So, we're in this big building renovation project. We're launching a nonprofit. We have a massive, massive reno that we're trying to do on a building, and really just trying to get in front of the right people to tell our story. And I just feel like that there is a group of people, specifically in our city, that care about our city. That I think if they knew what we were doing and how it was going to help our city, I think that they would help make this reality. And so we got an invitation to go to a an organization here in our city that advises donors, high level, high giving donors, advises
Mm.
them on reputable projects. And so I was able to sit with that team of leaders at that organization this past week and present our vision for the Oasis Center. And we walked out with them going, you know what? Let's get people in here. And so they've already started listing off names of people that are people who are generous, who care about our city. And so, someone asked me like, "Well, did you walk out with any money?" I was like, "No, but I walked out with tons of hope and
Yeah.
and the optimism of we're gonna be talking about this more." So that was a big win.
Nice. I think for me, the win was the bounce back from Monday, from my like how it went on Monday in my birthday, and just how is as frustrating as it is with all the stuff that I feel like I'm battling in my brain. It was that I could still do the things that I love. Like I still worked on some writing, music, and book, and being with my kids, and um, I feel like sometimes I feel as if I'm more elastic now. I'm bouncing back and snapping back better than I feel as if in the past it would take me longer, or I would spiral for longer, and then it would just kind of mess me up. Um, and then also too, I decided to start. I'm not like a yeah, I don't know. I like writing, but like consistently writing newsletters and stuff. Not my biggest fun thing, but I figured I wanted to start a Substack where I wrote more of just about like mental health stuff because I like to talk about it. I have stuff that I'm working on for mental health. You and I kind of talk about that in some capacity with this, um, but making it not like a LinkedIn article that I post, right? Because no one, half the people don't even read those.
Right.
And but then also not spamming it. So I just write it and I post a link and I post it on my Instagram and that's it. Like that's all it is. And I'm going to be honest about my wrestles and be honest about what I'm dealing with and that's just all it is. And so I started that this week, and I had posted a couple. I literally started Monday, and I've put out a couple articles, and I have 4 subscribers. And you know what? I'll take it. I got like that's 4 people that are listening, reading, and it's fine. And if that's all that ever get to read this, that's totally fine. But there are people that engage with the stuff I talk about that I wrestle with, and I think it's good just to have that outlet and to
You,
to be able
have
to
you
talk about it.
have you set a rhythm for yourself, like how often you're going to put something
Which,
out there?
so that is a great question, and I was actually talking to someone, a good friend at work, about that this week, and he was because he loves the content that I'm doing. He's helping me with the app that I'm working on, and he's just a big fan of encouraging me and being a kind guy. And he's always like, hey man, keep putting stuff out, make that your brand or whatever. And he was asking me about rhythm, and I said I'm learning about myself that the rhythms, while they are good, are I'm learning that it's too restrictive, and I've found that my creative process flourishes better when I just make time. And I have a flexible schedule enough that if I feel it, just do it, right? And I think that's the difference is I've developed the creative juices and process enough that now it's more about if I feel like an idea is there, explore it for a second if I don't have the time to really write it out, and then I'll just write it out later when I do. And
Hmm.
I've learned that that's better. And it's this, like so it's the same thing with I'm just writing or if I'm doing music or whatever. I've just found that it's actually better than just saying like I'm gonna write, I'm gonna publish my Substack on Monday and Friday. Like it just that's how it happened this week. It was like I was watching a video and it made me think of this thing and it made me think about something I'm going through and I was like, all right, I'll write something about that today and I'll post it. And so, but I think once a week, I would say it's as loose as possible as far as like the restrictive rhythms go,
Hmm.
and it's more of like, hey, try to get one out a week, or as many as you want, but at least one. And then also too, I've learned about me when it comes to like to dos. I was talking to my wife about this. Yeah, like a lot of people, when it comes to project management, they'd love to see like the whole, everything that they have to do. And what I learned was, I get too wrapped up in doing all that planning and figuring out like here's the big one, here's the little tiny rocks, that it actually made it harder for me to do anything.
Yeah.
And what I learned was I just do daily to dos because I know in the end I'm picking apart the big projects that I'm already working on.
Right.
And I'll be fine. I'll do it. I won't forget it because if then the day I go, okay, yeah, I need to make sure to do this, so I write them down in my planner, and then I break them down, and then I do it, and then the next day I do that, because I have so many things going on in my head that I love to do and that I get to do that I realized that I was over planning in that end and under delivering daily. And now that I just kind of go like, here's my day, here I go, and I've actually exceeded more of what I was trying to do. So, not that you asked for that. That was like that
No,
was a
but
side track.
you're hitting a nerve for me because I have a weekly newsletter that ideally goes out every Friday morning. It's supposed to be in people's inboxes at 5 a.m. on Friday mornings. Today was the first time that hasn't happened in a really long time, and I've been feeling kind of guilty. But I've kind of been having this conversation with myself all day of like, yeah, but I think it's lost its joy at that point. Like it's
Yes,
something I wanted. Like it's now I'm forcing conversation. It's called
yes,
cups of conversations, and now I'm forcing it as opposed to letting it just flow naturally. So this gives me, yeah, it helps me. Before we get too far, I want to roll back to your win because I've got to give a shout out to you, my friend. You said something this week in a polo that you sent to me, and it stuck with me, and I was like, wow, that speaks volumes. Your birthday was the day before, and it was, up and down day. And so I messaged you the next day and was like, hey, so how's how'd your day end up being? And you, early that morning, you were like, it was good, and it finally ended up being well. And you talked about hanging with your wife and kids. But this is what you said. You said today is Joanna's birthday, and I absolutely love celebrating her. In fact, if I could celebrate her every day, I would. And I don't know many people who go through their own crappy day, and especially on their birthday, who can go through their own crappy day and then turn around and be like, but you know what? I get to celebrate somebody else. And
yeah,
if I could do it every day, I would. And I just think our world needs more of that, like the
mm,
ability to be like, yeah, that sucked for me. But you know what? I'm celebrating you or them, and I'm really totally okay with it. And so let's go. So that was man, I think that was a win for you that maybe you didn't even, I don't know that you even saw it as one, but
oh, thanks.
it impacted me. So high five.
High five. I just tell. I mean, I said it in my post about her. Like we make the joke. We love Fast and the Furious back before it got really weird. But like there's that line that you're my ride or die, and we have always said that about each other because we've been through insane things together, especially early on
Mhm.
in our marriage. And it's like there's no one else. There's literally no one else. It's not even oh she's my soulmate. I just joke like there's no one else who could walk through life with me and me being as crazy like the craziness of life and my craziness. There's no
Yes.
one else. There's
Yep.
literally no one else in this entire world. And if there is, I would eat my own hat. I eat my own melon hat. That if the Lord ever showed me, because be like, you're lying. That's not real. Because there's only one person, and it's my wife. And so that's why I love celebrating her, because it's like there's no one else. You're just that amazing, and the Lord has blessed me so much with you. So
Well,
yeah,
it challenged me because I mean, I tell people that Christy's my tether. She's the one that kind of keeps me rooted and grounded when
yeah,
I'm all, like, oh, we're gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and 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 we are like we're firstborn. We're very strong personality, both of us, and so I mean,
that's hilarious. Your two
I
firstborns got married. Ah, that makes sense now.
I make her more mad than anyone else in the world, and I should probably say that, and I could probably say she knows what buttons to push for me too, but there's nobody else in this world that could put up with me
Yeah,
and that I would want to do this with. And but it just I don't know. It was like wow, like celebrating, and I don't celebrate her enough.
mm,
Even on her probably on her birthday, like it's Valentine's Day, coming up, and so I was like, oh snap, I want to celebrate her. So thank you.
there you go. There
You
you
were
go.
inspiring.
Stop. Well, also, I think as we continue with this podcast, I think it'd be cool to talk, even like take questions about that, about relationships, about marriage. Not that we're any experts, but even just kind of like how we've worked through things in our own marriages and relationships. Um, and it's funny. We're recording these episodes, and they're not even out yet because we're batching a bunch of them. And I'm curious to see like what the response will be. I hope that people send us more wins and send us. And what I need to do is anytime we're going to record, I need to just make sure I post on my story. Hey, send me a win, big or small, from your week, because just got another one from a friend. They said after being out of the gym for a whole year, they've been 3 times this week, and he did tell me because he was going back and forth with me. He's a friend from a parent friend at school, and he does drop offs, and so drop off for the girls' school right now that they're at. They're going to actually go homeschool next year, but is like 7:50 and to like 8, right? That's like drop off time, and the latest you can drop your kid off is like 8:15. And so he would then drive home because he works from home from drop off, and his gym is on the way, but he just kept not going. And he knows that usually if I'm doing drop off, I'm going right to the gym, which is about like 8 minutes away from their school. And so I drop off and go to the gym, and then I come
Mhm.
home. And so he texted me today. He was like, "Hey, I went to the gym again today after drop off," and I asked him for a win. He was like, haven't been to the gym in a year, an entire year, and I
Damn.
went 3 times this week. So that's
What's
huge.
his name? What's his
His name
name?
is Paul.
Paul. Way to go, Paul.
And it's fit, like we have to care about fitness as husbands and dads and men. Like that is huge. That's integral to not only our own health but the health of the people around us.
Bro, so I have a guy that's been working with me since April of last year. His name is Hunter Sprague. He's works his organization, his thing is called Monolith Movement, and he's all about like dads. Got to be there. You've got to,
Yep.
and it's more than just being there. You've got to be healthy. You've got to be able to pick your kids up. You got to be able to help your kids live. Move house when they're moving from the house to the dorm or
Right.
moving into their apartment. Like you can't. You've got to be there for them. And so, yeah, it's so much more than just being about being jacked and the six pack. It's about being able to thrive. So.
But I just got another win from a friend. This one is so different. This one, if that one was like Jim, this one is he had what was it? He had he married someone and they like completely went off the rails and left him. It was a whole thing, became crazy. But they were married. He moved to Ireland for them. It was this whole thing. And then they just like left. They just went nuts and it was really bad. And so the problem was in Ireland, like you can't get divorced. Like you can separate, but then you have to wait like a few years. It's this whole process. And he can't get married to the person he's like dating that they're much better, they're whatever. And so he texted me, he's like, I got my divorce papers signed today. Like I was like, that's okay. I guess so. In your situation, yes, I don't necessarily condone divorce, but in your situation where the person literally just left and it was
I
insane.
mean, Yeah.
Get it?
So, what's the first letter of his name so we can high five him? What's it?
His well, he doesn't mind. His name's Noah. So
Okay, Noah. Good job, Noah.
hey, I mean,
Congrats.
look, I get it. There's
Congratulations.
wins are wins to some people, not always to everyone. But look, the whole thing though is it's what we're trying to establish here is a community of people of guys supporting each other, right? And so
Absolutely.
like that's what it is. It's not a
Surviving, not thriving. I used to be all like, I want to thrive and not survive, but I do think that there's something to be said for surviving. Like
like
we're,
yeah, it's it's okay. We're not gonna thrive all the time,
no,
and I think in focusing on surviving well, we will thrive in some ways. But I just it just is what it is sometimes in that way.
yeah,
I hate that phrase. It is what it is. But that's just kind of how it goes. So, all right. Well, as if you're listening to this podcast, thank you so much. Be sure to like, subscribe, share it with all your friends. Send us wins. Follow us on Instagram at Stretch Thin Pod, or I think it's just Stretch Thin Pod. And then also we'll be putting shorts and everything up on YouTube once we start launching, so you can find them there and on Instagram and TikTok and everything. But thank you for listening, those who are listening, and all the guys out there. You're not alone. You are in this together with other men around the world, and we're even if it's just us two, it's just Shannon and Joel. We're here for you too. So never feel like you can't reach out.
absolutely.
All right, y'all. Have a great one.
See
Peace.
ya.